everyone, and welcome to the newest edition of The Insider, the ongoing video series that keeps you up to date on all things IPW. I'm the voice of IPW J-Rod. Jamal King started the show by bringing up the Fate of 8 tournament. Jamal will be watching the tournament very closely and says he's ready to face whoever the tournament champion may be. He was interrupted by the Dark Gentleman. The Dark Gentleman voiced his respect for Jamal and reminded Jamal that he helped Jamal in the past in IPW. The gentleman asked very nicely for a shot at Jamal's IPW championship. He even said please. Jamal King granted the match and would defend his title in our main event against the Dark Gentleman. The opening kickoff saw 2 Fate of 8 qualifiers, Chad Alpha and Jeremiah Nazareth. Alpha has been on a big win streak this year, and Jeremiah Nazareth not only has Max Morrison to aid him in the tournament, but considering how his match with Casey Tempest went down, you could say Nazareth is the most violent man in the tournament. Alpha and Nazareth went back and forth until a small package situation went down that saw both men with their shoulders pinned to the mat. The referee didn't realize it until he counted the fall, and later ruled the match a no contest. Perhaps these two will get a chance to see each other again in the Fate of 8 tournament on June 3rd. LaDon Sanders was up next. His opponent was another Fate of 8 qualifier, Schwartzy. This match was a delight for the fans, and these two really got after it. In the end, Schwartzy got the win. This keeps his momentum rolling going into the tournament. The third match of the evening was a Michiana Championship title defense for Frederick Bison and a big return match for Casey Tempest. It was our Patreon exclusive, the first ever Patreon exclusive title match. Go over to Patreon to see it for yourself. LaDon Sanders returned to the ring with a microphone. Sanders called Felix Morio down to the ring. Sanders wanted to apologize to Felix for leaving him in the ring last week to fend for himself during their tag team match. Marco Modelo interrupted their exchange to talk a bunch of trash in Italian again. LaDon wanted these two to settle their differences, so he made a suggestion. Felix Morio has been pinned before, but has never been submitted. Marco Modelo has been submitted before, but has never been pinned. Sanders suggested they fight it out in a match where Morio had to pin Modelo or Modelo had to submit Morio. Pretty early on, Modelo tapped out to an armbar, but the referee could do nothing. Modelo hit a huge kick and pinned Morio for an easy 3 count, but again, the referee did nothing. It wasn't until the big flying elbow from Felix that we actually got a decision, as Felix finally put Modelo's shoulders down for the conclusion of the bout. Afterwards, LaDon carried Marco's limp body to the back just as Marco carried LaDon last week. In exciting news, these two have actually registered themselves as a tag team. So add another one to this booming IPW tag team division. Speaking of the tag team division, the unbeaten two non-cons challenged tag team champions Real Hype. This match was chaos from the beginning to end. The big finish came when Otto wrapped his hand with a chain. Then Jorge threw some type of powder substance in the eyes of Jimmy Shalwin. A blinded Shalwin kept fighting, but Otto Spencer slammed his chain-wrapped hand into Shalwin's head, and that was all she wrote. Ladies and gentlemen, we have new IPW Tag Team Champions, two non-cons. In related news, I also have to mention what happened following the event. While searching through a trash can, Felix Morio was approached by Casey Tempest. The two made a very nonchalant agreement to team up together. So I guess we can add yet another tag team. With this, it's an easy claim to make that IPW has one of the deepest tag team rosters of any company in the entire sport. Stella Bujo has taken advantage of an opportunity. We said time and again that nobody wants to face Randy West. So in order to get a shot at the women's title, all you have to do is volunteer. This time, Randy was more familiar with Bujo. And for Bujo, Randy's aura of invincibility was gone. Bujo had Randy on the brink of defeat until Randy pulled a dirty tactic to pick up the win. Bujo was a little confused after the match, but tried to pay Randy some respect anyway. That's when Randy decked her. This was uncharacteristic of Randy, and the crowd didn't really know how to react. Does Stella Bujo have Randy West's number? Is this why Randy reacted like that? We've been pumped to finally see the showdown between Derek Wolf and Josh Raymond. It was finally time, or so we thought. Derek sent a message to IPW management saying that he has decided to forfeit the match. Both members of the home team were thoroughly disgusted, as were the fans. We really wanted to see Josh versus Derek, and we have reached out to Derek for a comment. Derek has declined to speak, and nobody has heard from him since. We reached our main event, and it was a good one. The Dark Gentleman versus Jamal King. The Dark Gentleman pushed King to his limits in this match and really proved he can compete at the top of the card against the best IPW has to offer. In the end, the Dark Gentleman was caught in the Supreme Lock. I once stated that everybody taps to the Supreme Lock, but apparently that doesn't include the Dark Gentleman. He went out on his shield and refused to tap, eventually passing out from the pain. Jamal King defeated the Dark Gentleman by technical submission. This display of heart won the fans over big time, to the point that the fans were chanting TDG as the Dark Gentleman was revived. Jamal King remains our IPW champion and will be watching closely as the Fate of 8 tournament determines the next big challenge to his title. With 3 big IPW events between the tournament and War on the Shore 3, anything can happen. Our next IPW event will be the 3rd annual Fate of 8 tournament. Anderson Knight, Terry Van Avery, Chad Alpha, Jeremiah Nazareth, Schwartzy, Max Morrison, Josh Raymond, and Jeremiah Goldmain. These 8 men will fight it out in a single night, single elimination tournament. We know anything can happen in this tournament, as evidenced by the first Fate of 8 tournament, when Tommy Vendetta got a bye due to his opponent being medically disqualified from competing. Or last year's Fate of 8 tournament, when Ren Jones injured Jeff King prior to their match in the quarterfinals. So this year, IPW has selected a few alternates to fill these spaces if any issues should arise in this year's tournament. Whoever is able to win this tournament will receive the ultimate opportunity of competing in the main event for the IPW Championship on July 1st at War on the Shore 3. That concludes this edition of The Insider. Join us on Saturday, June 3rd at Ruggers Up and Under in Kalamazoo, Michigan as IPW presents the 3rd annual Fate of 8.